One of the more disgraceful bits in the Conservative campaign is the attack on Keir Starmer for saying that he wanted to ring fence his time after 6 p.m. on a Friday. And he said this in an interview about what he would do if he were elected Prime Minister. And it's about balancing the work family time. And in fact, it was something that only a couple of weeks ago, Rishi Sunak was asked what did he admire about Sir Keir Starmer, and he mentioned his ability to balance work and family, and then he's attacked for this, and the comment has sparked political debate, with Prime Minister Sunak saying that he has never finished work at that time, and the Conservative Party criticised Starmer on social media, suggesting that the UK under Starmer would have a part-time Prime Minister. This is absurd. And Starmer defended his stance by emphasising the importance of balancing work and family time. And he stated that taking time for family helps him to be a better decision maker and contributes positively to his overall performance. There are plenty of people who will support that view, and the long hours that are demanded of a Prime Minister can diminish productivity, and the need for rest and recovery is essential for high work performance. And this sort of hammer of demanding things at a particular time is possibly counterproductive. It assumes somebody is a child and needs to be kept to a schedule. And most adults know full well that what the schedule is and what the demands are, and they're able to balance them or delegate. And you need your support to support rather than harangue, and that's the issue. You need the support to do what it says it's going to do. If it doesn't do it, it's not good support. It needs to go. And if it does do it, and if it furthers the process, it needs to stay and it needs to be encouraged to do more. And I think children are part of that process. Children are the unquestioned part of the identity of an individual. Children and family. That is the point that cannot be questioned. You don't trade your children. So if you go back and you look at the other prime ministers that we've had recently, like David Cameron, he started early at 5:45. I entirely agree with that approach. But that means you can't be made to keep going and going and going to reach random deadlines imposed by others. You know what those random deadlines are. Those random deadlines are there. And you're up at a moment's notice to meet a crisis. And Cameron was doing his red box first thing in the morning. But despite the demands of his role, he tried to have breakfast with his children and occasionally cooked dinner for the family. He would spend weekends at Chequers with the family, indulging in some relaxation if his duties allowed him to. Nick Clegg, who was Deputy Prime Minister, the only decent Deputy Prime Minister, the only Deputy Prime Minister who's actually been a real Deputy Prime Minister, and he shared Cameron's views on the importance of family and fatherhood, and they delayed weekly cabinet meetings to take their children to school. Quite right. Clegg was rigid about being home to put his children to bed, even refusing dinner invitations. Rigid. And of course, we've all heard the stories about how the Queen's relationship with her oldest son was fractured by her becoming Queen, and that she lost those bath time moments. Tony Blair, during his time in office, also managed to include his family in his rigorous schedule. He started early, he ended late, but he made a point of having breakfast and dinner with his children whenever possible. Gordon Brown. Gordon Brown had a more intense work ethic and didn't really understand what relaxation was. And when Mandelson told him he had to take time off, you know, he took a day off before he came running back to deal with the flooding problem, if you remember. And he began work before sunrise, and he expected the same of his advisers and his supporters. There are several Conservative MPs who believed in napping. I must say I quite believe in napping. Winston Churchill, Boris Johnson were known to take naps during the day to sustain their energy. David Dimbleby, when he was doing the huge election broadcast, I think used Mars bars and honey. And Margaret Thatcher famously survived on very little sleep, a bit of whiskey, and weekends to catch up on rest. So the debate about whether or not it's possible to have a family life while running the country highlights the different perspectives on leadership-work balance, but they also highlight the different energy and capacity of the various individuals. Keir Starmer's approach, emphasising the time for the family on a Friday evening, and this, of course, reflects his wife's his wife's Jewish background. This is an important focus that needs to be borne in mind, that needs to be considered, and that needs to be valued and supported. I think it's not something that should be poo-pooed. It reflects an understanding of productivity, well-being, and the historical examples show how past prime ministers have juggled and have juggled successfully their family time in various ways and their energies, and it suggests that maintaining a balance between personal life and official duties is both a personal choice, a strategic necessity, and a sustained performance. And getting it right and thinking about it before you actually have to take it on is the mature thing to do.